the things that we feel are necessary to get.
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Dwayne.
Hi there. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. All right. And Carlos is somewhere in the hood. I know he's there. So whenever you're ready, my friend, you can ring the bell.
We'll take down the pantry wall that separates the kitchen from the living space. We'll also add. Can you hear it?
I'm barely hearing something.
Well, I think somebody's TV or something was going too, but we did ring the bell.
Ding.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right. Okay. And then Dwayne, would you like to go ahead and do the pledge for us?
Yes.
Awesome.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, liberty and justice for all.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, here we go.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Awesome. All right.
Feel it when you.
One of the privileges of working from home, you get to really work on your camera skills while your dog is playing footsies with you under the desk. It's really interesting. Woo. Does anyone else have that issue? No? Okay. All right. Well, let's see here. Oh, hey, Felicia. Thank you. Hey, Amy.
Hi. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's see here. Any visitors? Hey, Carlos. I see your pretty face now. Awesome. All right. So I told you, I think a couple of meetings ago, we were going to start doing kind of like we have the happy jar moment, but then we're also going to do kind of like the prayer need moment, or anything that we need to just, make awareness of, provide space for, send some good messages to the man upstairs on your behalf. So this is a time where, if you know of anyone that's in need, or you and yourself are needing anything, please let us know. Dwayne, I know that your son, was it your son that's recovering from COVID?
Yes, he's back at work and doing well. But my oldest daughter that has the little girl, her husband has COVID, and they're really worried because she's pregnant. And so they're trying to stay healthy and those type of things. Future and prosper. So.
And what's your older daughter's name?
Christina, and her husband's name is Shelby. So.
Okay, and this is your newest grandbaby, right?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, yes, definitely. We will definitely hold Christina and her whole family. Yeah, you said her husband too?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Oh my goodness. Anyone else have anything that they know of? How's Barb doing, Dan?
She's doing fine. She had chemo round number 5 on Monday. So she's kind of going downhill there for a little while, but she'll start coming back up again next week. And then we get round 6 and we'll be done with chemo.
Oh my goodness. What happens after that?
We'll probably get some radiation. They haven't decided how much or when we're going to start, but after radiation, they have nothing else planned. Pretty much consider her to be cured.
Oh my goodness. This has been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It's been a long year. Yes, ma'am.
When did this start? Was it February?
Day after Christmas.
Oh.
It's nigh onto a year, and we're not quite done yet.
Wow.
She is so strong. She is so strong. We're so proud of her and so supportive of her. Linda just gave a hand clap. Woo! So we're cheering her along, and she's at the end now, right? So
one more round.
Now, Dan, did I get this right? Didn't you have this too?
Before? I did back in 2011. Yes.
Okay, so you can relate 100% with her.
I kind of know where she is. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of
I
been
know.
there, done that. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I know. There's some things in marriage though I don't want to share, you know?
I didn't intend to
Gonna be
share
one.
it, but it just worked out that way, I guess.
Yeah, but you both are such fighters. You both are so strong, and I know it takes a big team and support. Yeah, and if you have any plans of a celebration in mind for Barb, you know, even if it's just, I mean, obviously, you know, a safe socially distant one, you know, but
Yeah.
we would love to be a part of that and honor
All right.
her. Yeah, yeah, so excited about that. Does anyone else know of anyone, or Carlos, how's your uncle doing? Did he finally get what was his Chili's food, or what was it?
Salad, yeah, his money back for the salad from Chili's.
That's
Um, yeah, he's doing great. He's doing great. He came over for Thanksgiving, and then I saw him just the other day for Mama's birthday. We all went out to eat, and you wouldn't think that, you know, less than a month ago, he's doing great.
He's doing great.
They won't let him go back to work yet, but in roughly 2 more weeks, just before Christmas, he'll be able to go back to work.
That's incredible. And this was a guy that was literally pronounced dead, right?
Yeah, well, he was. His heart had quit beating for 30 minutes. When he arrived at the hospital, he was dead on arrival.
Dang.
Wow.
That's unreal. And then God just said, "Not yet, buddy."
Well, so that's just it, right? Through our conversations, he's like, I've seen those videos where you see the light and some people get to talk to Jesus. And he said, I don't know if I got lost or if I was not headed in that direction. But, he said, I want my money back because I didn't see the light. I didn't get to talk to the big man. And he's like, but I didn't feel like it was hot. So I'm safe, I think.
Oh my goodness.
That's your sense of humor.
Yeah.
So
he didn't feel any heat coming, so he felt assured for that. But
yeah, he's like
he didn't see Elvis or Michael Jackson, nothing like that.
Yeah, no. I think it was all lights out.
Wow.
Interesting. Well, I'm so glad to know he's doing good. Yeah, what a bounce back. I know. Brian, Linda, anything in PV? Have you heard anything? Anybody over there? Not like you have a pulse on every person that lives there.
My neighbor across the street, they're going down like flies. She's the only one in the family right now that doesn't have it. So they've got 5 kids. Well, not 5 kids. It's 4 kids and a sister. So we're trying to keep Mama sane over there.
Oh man, yes, definitely. And that's your neighbor?
Yeah, she lives across the street. The Burdette.
Okay, Bert.
And we did have
yes, okay.
a family that had a house fire on Thanksgiving Day. Actually, a car fire that turned into a house fire. And I guess maybe a happy. I'll put in a happy. The good news is the Hope Foundation has really stepped in and
Good.
single mother and other vehicles, so she's back in action and found her another place to live here in the community. So, downside is a heavy upside, so we're happy for that, but definitely want to keep them.
So they have a place to stay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh man, on Thanksgiving too. Oh, it wasn't the turkey, was it?
No, the car. That actually, it was a car that caught on fire, and then I guess the flames were so big that it was close to parked close to the house, and it caught the house.
Right.
They had just gotten out of the car too.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's scary. But at least they're all safe, I mean.
Did anybody find out what caused the car to catch fire?
That I don't know.
I haven't heard.
Well, at least they're okay. And you said the Hope Foundation has been working on that. They're really good about stuff like that. That's good. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, we will definitely lift them up, and we'll just, you know, this is something that I think is just really important, that we understand the needs of the community, and we're, you know, don't want to take for granted our health and obviously our security, our home, and especially with COVID going around, and you know, just to lift others up and as much as we can, and you know, and help each other. So thank you for sharing that. And if you can think of anybody else, maybe forgot or whatever, Amy, Hugh, Felicia, just let us know. Just, you know, I really think this is important for our club to be able to recognize that. Well, thank you.
Don't forget Chris Cagle, he had his gajillionth surgery.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And I shouldn't laugh, but he so if anyone's following the Facebook page, or not on our Rotary Club, sorry, if you're following Chris Cagle's Facebook page, he just had another surgery. And what did he say? Is this his 8th surgery?
It was it 8? I guess 9.
9? Oh my, I don't know. But this is on his back this time. So he said he's getting surgery on his back, and I guess with a brand new baby. I'm sure his wife might not be happy about this. But definitely send your prayers to Chris. The good thing is Chris is very resilient, and he bounces back really quickly. And so, but yeah, we'll make sure, you know what? Hey, Carlos, can you help me remind Denise to send a little something over to him?
Yes.
I completely forgot about that. So thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we'll make sure he's doing okay. Oh, poor Chris. He's falling apart, man. He can't be doing all those high kicks forever. Is he a Rockette? You know, what does he think he is? Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders? Anyway. All right. So, and this is normally the spot where Denise would share with us what's going on. The Kindness Revolution. This is an awesome program that the Keithling Agency is hosting, and they just find, you know, there's just so many people that are doing so many great things, and the Keithling Agency is recognizing that and championing it and awarding people. And Carlos, you're a recipient of one of those awards, right?
Was.
Yeah. So, I mean, the love just keeps spreading around. So I know she's not able to be here today. So, but we always want to hold space for her to update us on the latest award. All right. It's time to get happy. If we weren't already happy, it's time to be happy. And if you are happy and you know it and you really want to show it, drop in some love to our PayPal account at 380rotary@gmail.com. Yeah, I know it's probably a little too early for all of that, but I've had my coffee, so I'm doing really good. So remember, the any kind of donation that you make to the Happy Jar goes directly to the family of Rotary, which provides everyone wonderful cards, you know, for your birthday and flowers for surgeries and things like that. So it helps fund it. So any of your donations, it goes right back to the members of the club. So please be generous in your offering. I will go ahead and start out by saying I'm just so glad to be healthy. I'm so happy to be healthy. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is some crazy little times now. And my job is working now, McKesson, on getting the vaccines out. And so this is like 24/7. All we're talking about is COVID. And so we're just really, I'm just really grateful that Michael and I are good and healthy. So I'm really grateful for that.
I'm happy we got through Thanksgiving. Very healthy, very happy.
Yes.
Second great turkey in a row in McKinney, Texas.
Turkey's really important.
Yeah, very, very important. Very happy week.
Yes.
Great week.
Anyone else have a happy thought they want to share?
Well, we found out over Thanksgiving that my daughter isn't so good with social distancing, and they're expecting their second child. So I'm going to be a grandma again.
That's a wonderful.
Girl, I thought you were about to go somewhere else. I got nervous. Congratulations. That's exciting.
Yeah, we're excited.
It's too soon to know what you're having, right?
Yeah, she can't get in to even get her due date until next week. So we think sometime in June.
Well, I hope by then all of this will be cleared away and you can have a normal reunion, happy delivery, all that good stuff at the hospital.
Same. You know, it's so different with COVID because the dad's not even allowed to go in for the ultrasound, or so the dad has to miss out on a lot.
Yeah,
that's the way it is.
I know. Thank you. Well, Dan, didn't you say that you had to wait in the parking lot when Barb would go in?
Yep, I'm not allowed in either.
Well, that's not very happy. I'll get my thoughts back on Linda's baby. Okay.
My daughter's baby.
Well,
no baby for me.
All right. Anyone else have a happy thought they'd like to share?
Are you having another baby, Carlos?
No, Dwayne asked me if he wants to have a baby with me.
I
said no.
That's not being very socially distant.
What did you say?
Well, we can do it and still be socially distant.
Oh dear. I have a feeling this is taking another turn. All right. Anybody else have anything that's happened in the last 2 weeks they're happy about?
Oh, I do want to share something. For Thanksgiving, I'd been putting out feelers and stuff for families that could use a little bit of help and stuff like that for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And there were so many people offering the same thing, especially in our community. It was it was a little challenging to be able to find somebody that needed help or assistance, things like that. Thanks to Amy and a couple of other people that kind of sprung up last minute, we were able to help 4 different families, and it was literally like the week of Thanksgiving.
Really?
I found out, and we were able to we would buy groceries for one family.
Now you sly dog, you did this and didn't tell the club?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It all happened so quickly that what had happened was it came in so quickly, and as a matter of fact, we still have an extra turkey and a ham in our freezer because they were coming in,
Oh, well, that's wonderful. You said 4 families?
Yeah, so we ended up helping 4 families.
Well, I can't be mad at you over that. Well, let us help next time. Get us some.
I do have a spreadsheet put together for one family. I'm working on a second, and I will be sharing all that info as soon as I get all the details up and running. I've got the details for one family. Thanks to Amy Yarborough, she helped me with them. And
awesome. Okay. Well, I will wait for you to give us some word on that. Yeah, it happened so fast, officer. I didn't know, I forgive you. All right. So, and then Brian, the parade is tomorrow, right?
Yes, it is. 4:00. COVID be damned, and we're going to have some fun. We had our tree lighting, and probably the best turnout we've ever had, and went through tons of hot chocolate and had a good time. And I think people can do things outside and be responsible and still have a little bit of Christmas cheer. So
that's awesome.
That's
awesome. Awesome. And yes, that is on the Facebook page, people. So if you want the details on that, Ashley got that on there for us. So cool. All right. Well, just a quick reminder, Sweet Support is our fundraiser. So if you know any local businesses that want to put their brand on a beautiful box and show some love to some police officers or teachers or healthcare workers, you know where to go and you know where to share that. So, you know, think about your family members, think about relatives, think about your favorite restaurant owner, you know, that may want to do something like that. We are really excited. We've already hit our goal. But we want to go ahead and get more in so that we can make sure to take care of our community needs. So don't forget that.
I have something else real quick, and I'll share it on the page. The Providence Elementary PTO, they are looking for people to adopt a teacher, and it would be providing a $10 gift card and a thank you note or Christmas card. So I'll share the link if anybody wants to sign up for that, so we can show our teachers some appreciation.
Yeah. Let us know and like any deadline date or anything like that. Like,
will do.
$10 PV Elementary PTO. Okay. Thank you. Okay, and so Souls for Salvation, guys, you know who they are. We absolutely love them. They take care of our homeless population. They are doing another winter clothing drive. Actually, they've been doing it since October, and they're allowing us to help them out. So they're looking for anything from gloves to hats to hoodies. Gently used items is okay. It doesn't have to be brand new. And just bring them by the Kiesling Agency. We will be collecting this even through the new year in support of our homeless population that needs this. So just bring your items over, or if you want to purchase anything on Amazon and just want to ship it over, you know, some socks. That's a big need for the homeless is socks. So if you want to order a couple of packs of socks and have it shipped to the Kiesling Agency, please do so. So more to come on that too. Thank you. And then Carlos, I know we'll get more on the adopt a family and your findings. So thank you for that. Okay, so, oh, and Jeff isn't here. Jeff has a migraine. So guys, you know, hold him up. It's too much trivia night for him. And he wound up obviously not able to handle. So now he's got a migraine. So anyway, I'm teasing, but really he isn't really doing so good. So please remember him. All right, so without further ado, our guest speaker, I'm so excited to share this. So you guys remember, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, probably maybe a little longer than that, Brian Glenn with the Lake Cities Rotary did a presentation on ShelterBox and, you know, showed us how awesome this program is and what it does. And so he told me about Brittney, who is got to be one of the most adventurous people I've ever met. You know, you read up on her and she is just so ambitious and so bright and enthusiastic, and what she's doing for Rotary is amazing. And I'm not going to take all her thunder away, but I'd love for her to share with us what inspired her to do this, what it's doing, and how successful she's been. So without further ado, Brittney.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie. And thank you to the 380 Rotary for having me here today. Like I said earlier, you guys are probably the most enthusiastic group that I have met with yet. And I hear you're a pretty new Rotary. So very cool. Thank you so much for having me.
Do you have anything do you have a slide deck to share?
I do have a slide. If I could have the power to share my screen. So as Carrie said, I am a ShelterBox ambassador. I became a ShelterBox ambassador about a little over a year ago. And it sounds like you guys already had a ShelterBox presentation pretty recently. So Brian Glenn, he's great. And he is making my job a lot easier today. But something about us ShelterBox ambassadors is that we are a little bit crazy whenever it comes to some of our fundraising ventures. I don't know if you've heard about any of the other ambassadors, but whenever I became a ShelterBox ambassador, I quickly learned that it was almost already in the culture of ShelterBox to take on different physical challenges, I guess, to raise both awareness and funds for vulnerable populations and for ShelterBox's ultimate mission around the world. So we've had ambassadors like cycle from Tierra del Fuego in Chile all the way to Alaska with the box. We have had, like there was a guy who canoed down the Mississippi with the box. We've had people do Ironmans with the box. So whenever I became an ambassador, it wasn't so much a question of if I would do a physical challenge, but what it would be and when. So you'll find out that this summer I climbed all 58 of Colorado's 14ers with ShelterBox's iconic aid box on my back. But for those of you who maybe were not here for Brian Glenn's presentation, I'll give you a very quick rundown of what ShelterBox is. So ShelterBox is an international disaster relief organization who focuses on providing emergency relief to individuals and communities who have lost everything as a result of natural disaster or war or conflict. And they actually started 20 years ago out of a Rotary club in England, just as like a small little Rotary club project. And over the past 2 decades, they have just transformed and grown into an international powerhouse in terms of providing that emergency relief. So super cool. They work all over the world, including in the US. And in fact, they even responded to Hurricane Hugo in Texas a couple of years ago. So just an incredible organization. And I'm sure Brian Glenn gave you guys a pretty good rundown of what they do. Here's kind of what their aid package looks like. So they are a shelter organization, hence ShelterBox, but shelter can look like a number of different things, from this iconic tent that you see here, which can house a family of 5 to 10 individuals for many years. It's a very, very sturdy tent, but that can also look like tarps or tools, actual tools, like to help individuals with that rebuilding process. But just a roof over your head is not usually enough to provide those basic necessities. So they also provide things like blankets, ground mats, cooking equipment, water filtration kits, even as like school supplies for students, and mosquito nets. So one of the best things I think about ShelterBox is that they're very versatile in terms of the aid that they're able to provide. And so every disaster is different, which means that every response is different. And so one of the first things they do whenever they go in and they're about to deploy, as Brian probably told you, is they do a needs assessment. And so they really see what individuals need on the ground. And one of the things that they were very quick to do at the onset of COVID was look at their aid and individuals in need and see what they could do to potentially protect them as well, not only in these difficult situations, but also against COVID. So you can see here, they actually started providing things like water basins and soap. And this is a young girl named Fatima, who's in a refugee camp just outside of Syria. As we now know, just one of the best things that we can do on an individual level to keep both ourselves and our community safe is keeping up with those basic hygiene habits. But how I kind of thought of my project and why I felt that now was the most important time. I'll get a little bit more into my background in a second, but I'm very tapped into the humanitarian assistance world. Eventually, it's my goal to actually work as like someone like Brian Glenn as a response team member who is deployed helping these vulnerable populations on the ground. So I'm currently studying humanitarian assistance in grad school. And whenever COVID happened, one thing I noticed was just because we're in the midst of a pandemic did not mean that disasters just magically stopped overnight. It was just the fact that we were not hearing about them anymore, or if they showed up on our radars, they were merely blips. And some of these populations that were already dealing with super difficult situations from war, conflict, or, if a hurricane or a cyclone comes through and knocks down your entire community and you're being told to shelter in place, it's a little difficult if you don't have shelter. Or if you're a refugee living in a refugee camp, having to stand in long lines every day, live in close proximity with other people, often sharing different amenities. If the virus were to get into those communities, it would just run through there like wildfire. And I thought these populations are truly some of the most vulnerable around the world. Many of them don't have stable governments, or they have fragile healthcare systems, and nobody is talking about this. I thought there's got to be something that I can do that can make a big positive impact that would raise awareness and raise funds for these individuals while making a minimal negative impact on my own communities and the small communities across Colorado. But who am I and how did I get here? Why do I feel inspired to do this work? So I said I became a ShelterBox ambassador about a year ago, and learned about kind of the crazy other ambassadors and was really inspired by some of the individual projects that they took on. But I think it really started, I've just always been a service-oriented individual. I graduated I'm originally from Kentucky, actually. My mom is from Texas though, so I have almost all my cousins and aunts and uncles live in Texas. But I was born in Kentucky. I went to the University of Kentucky where I studied nonprofit administration. So I've been very mission and community oriented from the beginning. And after graduating in 2015, I had the good fortune to kind of hop around on different fellowships and programs that were focused in a variety of different community-based missions, from women's empowerment to education to refugees. And one of those places actually was in Myanmar, and that's actually where this photo was taken. So in Myanmar, I lived with Buddhist nuns, helping to start a school for them to learn basic computer skills and English so that they could go on and pursue higher degrees in neighboring countries. And while I was there in 2016 to 2017. And if you know anything about Myanmar, then you might know that it is home to one of the largest humanitarian crises on the planet, with the genocide of the Rohingya and the expulsion of these people into Bangladesh based on their religion. And I was really horrified that this was all happening while I was there, and I didn't even know about it. And this really inspired me to go on and dedicate my life to working with these vulnerable populations, people who've lost everything by no fault of their own. So last fall, I moved back to the US to begin my graduate work in humanitarian assistance. I became a ShelterBox ambassador. And one thing you quickly learn whenever you become a ShelterBox ambassador is, it's almost like an automatic induction into Rotary. So I didn't know much about Rotary before I became a ShelterBox ambassador, but what I learned, I loved, because I already felt like I was trying to dedicate my life to service before self. This is also how I found out about the Rotary Peace Fellowship, for which I applied this past year. Unfortunately, I was not selected. I just found out like a month ago, but I am going to apply again next year because I think it would complement my ultimate career goals and desire to dedicate my life to service overall. So stay tuned for that. But another thing about me is that physical challenges are already something that I have kind of taken on in my life. So having grown up in Appalachia, I grew up probably more outdoors than I did indoors. I love hiking and camping, and I'm always looking for unique opportunities to combine my passion for the outdoors with my passion for service. So I like taking on physical challenges, but I never want to do it just for me. So I've taken on a number of physical challenges to raise both funds and awareness for causes that I care about over the years. So when I heard that this was already something that ShelterBox ambassadors kind of had in their culture, I was like, okay, it's not so much a question of if I'll do it, but when. Granted, this past year I was a grad student, so I had no time. So I was like, this is not going to happen anytime soon. Then COVID happened. And as I said, I saw this growing need around the world that no one was talking about. I have to do something. I can't just sit here. And I think you guys probably as Rotarians and service-oriented people can really relate to this better than anyone. It was really hard to be told to stay at home and that this was like the best way to help others. While I completely respect that, I know that, and probably you all relate to this, I get a lot of my own feeling of purpose and fulfillment from being out there and serving others. And I thought there's just got to be something that I can do responsibly and sustainably that would still make a difference in this pivotal time. Another thing was that all of a sudden, because of COVID, I had an entirely free summer, which has probably never happened. And so it's like, I will not let this time go to waste. And I was sitting in my apartment in Denver at the time, looking out at the mountains, and I thought, it's fitting that I should go out and find some physical mountains to climb as we, as this global community, are kind of coming together to overcome this very abstract and metaphorical mountain that is COVID-19. And thus the 14ers Project was born. So a 14er is a mountain above 14,000 feet. There are 58 of them in Colorado. Before this project, I had never climbed any of them. And so this was quite a project. Also, to do them all in a summer is quite a feat, as many people make this like a lifelong goal. So doing maybe 10 in a season is pretty good. Another thing you have to consider is that the Colorado climbing season is pretty slim. So you can really only climb between July and maybe September, like mid-September, before you have to wait for the snow to melt. And then usually by September, the snow is coming back on those peaks. And so I had a very, very slim window. And this project all came together extremely quickly because I only had the idea because of COVID. So I think I told ShelterBox about it in like late April. We did all of the promotion and logistical planning in May, figuring out, are we really doing this or not? And then June was pretty much just food preparation, physical preparation, and getting those logistics really like solidified and concrete. And then July 10th was the day that I actually started, and I finished 78 days later on September 26th, finishing all 58 in 1 year. Which was just absolutely incredible.
That is awesome. Good job, Brittney.
In addition to my physical goal, I also had a financial or like monetary goal. So I tried to raise $1,400 per mountain, kind of in line with 14ers. And if you multiply, do some quick math, 1,400 by 58, that's about $82,000, which was a huge goal. And this was not as important to me. I was like, any money that I raise, I will be so happy with, because like I said, this project came together so quickly. And I was just happy to be out there doing something for a cause that I cared about so much. And any money that I raised, I was like, this is great. It will all go to ShelterBox's COVID-19 Emergency Relief Fund. Beyond my wildest dreams, however, the project did gain traction and donations are still coming in to this day. And to date, I believe we've raised just short of $85,000. So we actually exceeded my monetary goal, which blows my mind. And like I said, all of this was donated to ShelterBox's current COVID-19 Emergency Relief Fund. So absolutely, absolutely incredible. So many anecdotes that I could tell you guys about the project, kind of my daily schedule out there with Colorado's hiking season being so short. I really had to crunch, and I was climbing probably 9 mountains a week. Doing multiple in a day sometimes. Also, something you have to consider is that the climbing season coincides with what's called monsoon season here in Colorado, which basically means every day you can expect a pretty bad thunderstorm between the hours of 12 and 3. So I had to be up every day, probably by 3 a.m., if not earlier. I think one day I started at 1 a.m., climbing these mountains, getting to the top well before noon, and then back under tree line before any storms rolled in. As you probably know as well, this summer in Colorado, we had quite a few fires. So that definitely changed my plans quite a bit. I had a very nice organized loop that I was going to do. And I think by the end, it looked like some crazy map that I had to create. So there was a lot of driving involved this summer. Also, one day Colorado was on fire, and then the next we were under snow. So it snowed for 5 days straight, which really threw a wrench in my plans. And I knew that whenever September hit, I was like, this is I'm kind of flirting with fate here, because September you might get a huge snowstorm and then the season's over. So I was very fortunate after this early snowstorm. It was just sunny the rest of September. I was able to climb the rest of the mountains, but we did have quite a few obstacles in addition to just the actual physical obstacle that is climbing a mountain. But I think probably one of the best things about this project, in addition to the community, the community that rallied behind me that I never expected, was just the incredible lessons that I learned. And I think one of the greatest lessons does have to do with goal setting. And, climbing a mountain, it's every day I say I was on this euphoric or adrenaline high, because climbing I feel like nowadays the obstacles and the challenges that we have in our life are sometimes, they're not like these physical challenges or these abstract challenges. And it's really hard sometimes to know whether or not you're making progress. You know, it sometimes feels like you're banging your head against a wall instead of making any progress. But with a mountain or a physical challenge like a mountain, it's a very clear physical goal. It's like you start at the bottom, you look at the top, you see the peak, and you know that if you put one foot in front of the other, you're eventually going to get there. And once you get to the top, there is no higher you could go. That is like a box checked. And no matter how painful it was to get to the top, that pain immediately falls away and you are overwhelmed with this euphoria and this incredible sense of accomplishment, in addition to just the incredible views and maybe conversations and friendships that you made along the way. And the fact that I got to do that 58 times this summer was just so encouraging, and being able to take those lessons and apply them to those more abstract problems in my life. And I hope everyone else can also take those lessons and also apply them to those other less difficult, like less physical challenges, will also help. Just this idea that if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, and that you are a little bit of time every single day, you are making progress with those goals. So this photo is from my final climb. I made some really incredible friendships. None of these people I actually knew at the beginning of the summer, and they came out to climb several mountains with me and are some of my closest friends. And you know, I could tell you guys so many anecdotes, and I'm going to open it up to questions in a second. But I think I feel confident that after this summer, these peaks will not be the last peaks me and that box see together. So definitely stay tuned for the next adventure with me and Boxan, as I call the box. And thank you again so much for your time and for listening to my
that's
project.
awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
I'm gonna leave you guys with my information. I'll also send this to the chat. Like I said, donations, you can if you feel inclined, you can still donate or learn more about the project here at this first link. I also have like a personal Facebook page for it where I post media updates or just updates about the project in general. And I've also included my personal contact information here, which I will send to the chat now. But yeah, I'll throw it back to you, Carrie, or if anyone has any questions, don't hesitate.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you. You are so inspiring. I could listen to you all day, and I'm just so grateful that you shared with us your blog, because I thought, God, I think we would love to be able to follow you and just really catch up with everything you're doing, and not just for ShelterBox, but all the other projects that you're doing. You're kind of like our eyes into all these other areas and countries and places that, you know, most of us will probably never see. And so it's just good to have that connection. So I'm totally going to be your follower.
Thank you.
I'm going to do that right after this meeting. I am so excited. I mean, Brian Glenn, it was so, you know, he's just one of those low key chill guys. And when he told me that we really need to have you present to our club, I was kind of like, oh, okay, this will be kind of cool and interesting, but I didn't know it was going to be on this level. This is so awesome. I did have a quick question though. How heavy is that? Because I'm assuming you carried that ShelterBox the whole time.
Yeah, so I guess one thing, I'm not carrying the biggest box. I'm carrying like the smaller box. Granted, it's still pretty sizable, and I don't have any aid inside. Another thing one thing that was really important to me throughout the summer was
That's the box you carried up there.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I thought maybe I froze. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I just carried the box. So dry weight of the box was just 8 pounds, but then every day I was carrying like water and then snacks and layers like clothing. So I think on average it was about 12 to 14 pounds. And there were some days where I had to actually hike into a basin and camp. And I had to put like my camping gear in the box, and the box does not distribute weight very well. It is not meant to be worn on your back that way. So those were really heavy and miserable hikes these days. But yeah, that was one thing I think that was really important to me, was that I was able to be self-sustainable out there. And because many of these hikes, almost all of them, were day hikes, it meant that I could, like, my schedule was wake up really early, hike up, hike down, have lunch at my car, and then drive to the next trailhead. And the fact that, so I was not staying in hotels. I did not have an apartment throughout these 2.5 months. And I had a giant Tupperware in my car of like 3 months worth of food, so that I would reduce the amount of time I ever went into town. I think I went into a grocery store like 3 times all summer. And really just trying to be conscientious of the pressure and exposure that I put both myself into, but also of smaller local communities throughout Colorado.
Wow, that is incredible. I mean, yeah, you're right. The physical impact of it alone is daunting. Does anyone have any questions for Brittney? So
You said
oh,
you
go
did
ahead.
not have an apartment, so where did you sleep at night? You didn't sleep in your car, I hope.
Yeah. Some nights I slept in my car. Some nights I mean, most nights I camped. So I don't know if you guys saw my slides. I actually did the Appalachian Trail a few years ago. So I'm very comfortable with hiking and just sleeping in a tent every night. However, I did go out this summer thinking that I would be roughing it, but because of that infamous Rotary generosity, I will say I had so many offers just to like camp in people's backyards. Some people even let me sleep in like their guests' houses. So I did not have to rough it nearly as much as I thought, but it was absolutely incredible. Yeah.
So where are you in Colorado?
So now I live, this was another thing I did not expect about the project. So I was in Denver last year. And then because of this project, I got to know all these small corners of Colorado. There are all these small communities. And I fell in love with this one called Leadville. It's actually the highest town in North America. And it's surrounded by 14ers. So after the project, I just fell in love with this town and moved here.
Oh, well, that's awesome. You know, in Texas, Colorado is where we run to every summer. So everybody flees to Colorado.
It's all a lot of Texas
point is like 14 feet.
Yeah, 14 feet. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Flatlanders, right?
So do you plan on doing any more? I mean, now that you hit your goal, I mean, you've done it. I mean, are you planning on continuing this or?
Yeah, well, so I think we do have some goals. Like next summer, we're looking at maybe going over to New England and doing the Whites. So the Whites are a very famous, they have their own famous challenge called the 4Kers, which are like mountains of 4,000 feet, which does not sound any bit comparable to 14,000. But what you have to remember is that here in Colorado, most of our trailheads start at least 10,000 feet. If not higher. So most of the mountains in New England start at actual sea level. So we're looking at doing either all the mountains in New Hampshire, all the mountains of New England, and then maybe in a couple years doing something like the highest and lowest points of every state with the box.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, you are such an inspiration. It's such a triumph that one person, just one person can make such a huge impact and I mean, raise so much money for ShelterBox. Like it's really inspiring and it makes you realize that, you know, any one of us can do this. I mean, obviously not that, but do something that is impactful like that. And you're just inspiring so many of us. I'm going to share your story with as many people as I can and continue to follow you. I know the rest of our club will be following you as well. But I mean, I keep it up. I mean, this is amazing. This is what Rotary is about, but this is what humanity is really about. So thank you, Brittney. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we would be amiss if we did not have you participate in our little tradition here. As we close out, we always want to remind ourselves of the 4-way test. And I know there's 5 on here, so it's really the 5-way test. And so what we ask you to do is just read it through. So read it through, you know, by saying the 4-way test of the things we think say or do, and then say number 1, and then we all collectively join in with you. Okay?
Got it.
Okay, guys, let's do it. The 4-way test.
So the 4-way test, of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Well,
Is
number
it-
one.
Oh, number 1, sorry.
Is it the truth?
Number 2, is it
Is it
fair?
fair
to
to
all
all
concerned?
concerned?
Number 3, will it
Will
build
build
better
better
friendships? Number 4,
Will
will
it
it
be
be
beneficial
beneficial
to all
to all
concerned?
concerned? And number 5,
Have some
Have some
fun.
fun.
have a good
I'm a
weekend.
14er.
Yes, climb the 14er.
Number 6.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. I'm assuming Carlos rang the bell.
Ding.
Ding. Awesome. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brittany. And
Bye-bye.
we'll make sure that we'll get a recap video for everybody that missed out. Appreciate you. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.